Hi everyone, in the last video I showed you how I took a standard motorised projector screen and made it smart by wiring in a relay module, setting it up in the app and getting full up and down control straight from my phone. No more clunky RF remotes. Now that the screen is smart and connected, in this video I'm going to show you how to bring it into Home Assistant and automate it so it works completely hands-free. I'm using a Fire TV stick for this. You can use an Apple TV, which is actually a little bit easier just because of the way it integrates straight away, or you can use an Android TV device as well, like a Google Chromecast. The first thing we need to do is get the projector screen to show up in Home Assistant. Shelly has a really good integration for Home Assistant, which is partly why I chose to go with it in the first place. All you need to do is add it as an integration and it will detect the relay module that we've got straight away. Once that's all set up, make sure you give it a name that you'll be able to find later on, as we'll be searching for it in the device list. Next on the list is getting our Fire TV stick in. As I said before, Apple TVs work a little bit easier because they just get picked up by the Home Assistant anyway. When using a Fire Stick, we need to set up an integration, and we're going to use one that's called Android Debug Bridge. This should be available and I'll link to it down below. You don't need to install hacks or anything like this. It should just be able to be added straight to your Home Assistant. So once you have it installed, we're going to go to Settings, Devices and Services, Add Integration, and search for Android Debug Bridge. Now the next thing we need to do is go and get our Android TV's IP address, because that's what it's going to connect to. In order to get your IP address, we'll need to enable developer mode on the Fire TV stick. This is pretty simple. To enable developer options on a Fire TV stick, you just navigate to Settings, My Fire TV, About, Fire TV stick, or the name of your device, and click on the device name about 7 times. It kind of varies. This will unlock developer options in the previous menu. In here, you'll be able to find your IP address, but one thing to note is, depending on how your Wi-Fi router is configured, it might have a dynamic IP address, in which case you'll need to go in there and set it to a static one. Otherwise, every time you try and access it, it's going to change, and therefore the automation and the integration with Android Debug Bridge won't work because your IP is changing every time. So once you've enabled developer mode on your Fire Stick, all you need to do is get your IP address and put that into the host field, and then you can leave everything else blank or kind of with the default value, and it should pull it through for you. Then you'll see here that your Fire TV has become available as a media player in Home Assistant. Next, we're going to go into Home Assistant, Automations, and create a new automation. And then this is where we start to get everything in place. So the first thing we want to do is the when conditions. We want to add 2 state options. So if you click add a trigger, type in state, and then for the entity, we want that to be your Fire TV. So search for that and make sure it's the media player option here. Once you've got that, we're going to change in the bottom one, the to field to idle. And now we're going to add another trigger, which again is using the same state. So again, search for your Fire TV, make sure it's the media player version of it as well. And then we're going to set the to unavailable. I don't know why it uses these. There is a way you can check the states of it in developer options, but I'm not going to go through that in this video. Next, we want to add where it says then do, we're going to add a choose option. And here we're going to add some conditions. It feels a bit counterintuitive because you're going to add the same things again, essentially. So for the first option, a condition with a state, same as we've just had before. So Fire TV. And the state is going to be idle. So that's effectively when it turns on. And then for actions, we're going to set the device, which is our projector screen. So again, for me, I'm going to search for Shelly. There it is, yeah. And now this is where I'm going to set the position to whatever I want it to be. And this is why we did it in the previous video where we calibrated it so we could set this position. So that's perfect for me. And now we're going to add a second option, which again is obviously just the reverse of that essentially. So again, it's still going to be a condition where it is a state. And again, so we're going to pick our Fire TV. And then the state is going to be unavailable because that's when it's going to turn off or it doesn't get power, because mine's being powered by the projector itself. And then the action is going to be, we're going to set the Shelly or the projector screen to set the position to 0, which means it's closed. And that's it. Then it's just a case of hit save, name your automation, and then we can test it out. So here we can see I've just turned on the projector. Now there's a couple of things to note here. The projector will turn on and it does take a little bit of time for the screen to then respond. This is purely because, as I said before, my projector is powering the Fire TV stick, so it takes a little while for it to boot up and get to a point where Home Assistant can recognize the state of it. But it does work, and actually by the time that the Fire TV stick's booted up, the projector's recognized it and it's already started opening, so actually for me it's not a big problem. And now if we turn the projector off, that's going to cut power to the Fire TV stick, which then sends the state to Home Assistant and triggers the automation to start putting the projector screen back in. And there you go, an entirely automated projection screen based on when you turn on your either projector or, whatever it may be. I've linked all the things that I used to get my setup to this point in the description. There is also the video before showing you how I wired it all up and everything else in there. But if you've got any questions or need help with anything, just drop a comment and I'll try and do my best to answer any of those as well.